Hola, peeps. Today we are going to be doing a lesson that is fairly simple, fairly straightforward, might even be a review of some stuff you've done in a previous grade. Today we're going to be talking about points, lines, and rays. This will not be a long video, so let's just get right to it. Points, lines, and rays. We're going to start with the simple and most obvious. Point. I want you to think about like a period or a spot on a number line. If I put a point down, that point cannot be on 1 and 2. It has to be on number 1 or it has to be on number 2. There is no way for it to be in more than one place at a time. Even if it is on 1.0 and 1.1, it's still on a different spot. Even if it's on 1.0 and 1.000000001, so it's like 1 millionth difference. Still 1 millionth difference. So a point is simply one single solitary point in space. Now let's go ahead and just write down those words. One single solitary point or spot, so I don't use the word in space. Let's go ahead and drop that down onto the next line and then we'll take it from there. So, and this is point. So point is one single solitary spot in space. So if I want to think about this as here, now I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit so that it shows up on my little blackboard here, but boop, that wasn't as exaggerated as I thought it would be. But you get the point. You get the point. Okay, so we're just talking bloop, a dot. Anywhere in space. There's a point, and there's a point, and there's a point, and there's a point. Either one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, they all have different points, and really an infinite number of points in any given line or shape. But as far as points are concerned, a point is just that one single spot. A point cannot be on 1 and 2. It has to be in one of them. Okay? So our next one, we're going to look at line. And now what do you think about when you think about a line? We're going to come over here, let's say. If you were to look at this, if we were to click on this little, let's see, there we go, lines. Okay, I've got choices here. Boom, 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 boom. Which of those do you think is going to be mathematically a line? Okay, let's give it a definition first. A line would be a straight two-dimensional figure that continues ever in both directions. Let's see, so how does that? A straight two-dimensional figure that continues forever in both directions. So if we were to look back at our things here, which of those do you think is going to signify continuing forever in both directions? It's going to be the arrow on both ends. Now maybe I'll do just kind of a central here. Oh, except I want it white. That's black on my blackboard. That doesn't show up very well. Okay. So we're going to represent a line when we draw it or when we represent it in our text or whatever as the line with arrows on both sides. Those arrows signify that it just keeps going and going and going. Okay? There's two more. Now it says points, lines, and rays, but I'm going to throw another one here at you. Line segment. Okay, so it's still a line. What do you think? A line segment is going to be a line that has two endpoints. Okay, so we're going to be very specific with this. If you go back to my little drawing tools here, we're going to do one without arrows because it has to end. Oh, I forgot to change the color again. How dare I? Boop. Okay, so we're going to do one without ends, but I also want to give it a little pizzazz and go tink, tink, so that I actually give it those two endpoints. Those two endpoints are what make it a line segment as opposed to a line, or the last one we're going to be talking about here, ooh, ray. Hmm. Now, array is going to kind of combine the line and the line segment. So array is a line that has one endpoint but continues in the other direction, onto the next direction forever. Forever. Squeeze that just a little bit so I have room to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, this is going to be one of our lines in here that only has one arrow on the end of it. So let's take it and let's go whoop, and we're just going to point at silly old Mr. Pratt in the corner here. And then as far as drawing this goes, I do want to make sure I give it that endpoint for specificity to show that it ends right there. Okay, so that point is just that single solitary space, that one spot in space that is dedicated to that point. A line segment's going to take a whole bunch of those points and just go on forever and ever. Or no, a line, sorry. It's going to take those and go on forever and ever and ever and ever, where the segment will take those 2 points and bloop, end that line on both sides. And then array combines the two of those, so it's got one endpoint and then a line that goes forever. So point, line, line segment, and ray. Check out the activity, see if you can figure those out. If you need to, refer back to the video or reach out.